Bradley's boss, Gil, is urgently asking him to come. When they meet on the spot, Gil says that he's waiting for a Mexican from the cartel, who will become their new supplier. Literally, just a minute later, the cartel member walks into the room, accompanied by two thugs.
This is Bradley. It's my top runner.
His name is Eleazar, and he introduces his goons, Roman and Pedro. He adds that they will accompany Bradley during the delivery.
I'm sorry.
Upon hearing this, Bradley takes his belongings from the locker room and drives home in a depressed state. At home, he sees his wife outside, sitting in the car, and having a very emotional dialogue with someone on the phone. Already suspecting something wrong, Bradley heads over to her. The woman is shaken, as she did not expect to see him so early. He notices the hickey on her neck and, barely containing his anger, snatches her purse in order to check her phone. A terrified Lauren, that's the wife's name by the way, admits that she's having an affair on the side.
I've been seeing somebody.
Bradley forces her into the house and takes out his anger on the wife's car, literally tearing it apart with his bare hands. Legit auto mechanic for f***'s sake. They can't stand him ordering and just throw a couple of punches at Bradley and go to their car, where they are surrounded by the police. A shootout ensues. He helps the cops by shooting Pedro. Roman fires a burst of bullets at Bradley, but he manages to escape into the water. Meanwhile, Pedro is shot in the head by a cop. Bradley sneaks up on Roman from the other side, wounds him in the shoulder, and knocks him out with a couple of punches. After the showdown, he surrenders to the police. The detective tries to push on Bradley's patriotism and the imminent birth of his daughter, but the man refuses to name his boss. He also says that he will get 4 or 5 years tops for his courier work, and he is ready to be held accountable.
Who supplies your crystal?
Some guy.
Some guy got a name?
I forgot.
Would you remember if I showed you a list of names?
Don't like to read. Won't even see a movie if it's got subtitles.
Lauren visits Bradley, and the man asks her not to come to the court hearing so as not to disturb her unnecessarily because it will not do her any good. He also forbids her to visit him in prison and bring his daughter there. He doesn't want his first meeting with daughter to happen in prison. When he gets out, he will explain everything to her himself.
I'll wait for you, no matter how long it is. Never.
After the search, he was given a robe and sent to his cell block. There, Bradley is met by the prisoner responsible for his adaptation. He tells him the basic rules. While he is escorting him to his cell, one guard offers to join his boxing club, but Bradley refuses.
There's a boxing program here, a good one. I'm one of the coaches. Not interested.
During the conversation, the guard learns that Bradley used to box. The old man takes Bradley to his cell and tells him what time dinner is. Bradley is in no mood and says he will skip it. The man gives him a bar and says,
"Lots of guys skip dinner when they first get here. 2 or 3 in the morning, you'll want it."
Left alone in his cell, Bradley lets out his anger in his usual way. During the night roll call, the guard harasses Bradley again for being late and reminds him about boxing.
Like the bell at the beginning of a boxing match.
Bill tries to persuade Bradley, because only such a firm and principled runner can deal with such thugs. He needs this supplier, and he says that Bradley himself has had drinking problems. Motivated Bradley with 3 months off after the birth of his baby, the friends agree to the deal. Bradley says he will be in charge of the team and asks Eleazar to order his bulls to obey Bradley unquestioningly from now on. The bosses seal the deal with a handshake, and Bradley goes on a mission that night with his ballast. He notices Roman's gun and tells him to put his hands behind his back. During the interrogation, the detective says he is amazed at Bradley's courage. He has seen the footage from the police body cameras. Thanks to his actions, not a single police officer has been killed. Although, even that will not help Bradley get away with it. However, helping the investigation process may make it easier for Bradley. The detective tries to push on Bradley's patriotism and the imminent birth of his daughter, but the man refuses to name his boss. He also says that he will get 4 or 5 years tops for his courier work, and he is ready to be held accountable. There are 2 more Ferraris parked outside Bradley's house, and the house itself now looks more like a luxury mansion, which means things are looking up for the man. He walks into the kitchen and sees Lauren cooking. Bradley grumps at her for wielding a knife.
I don't want you handling a knife right now. Please, put that down.
Sit down.
He tells Bradley that his betrayal has cost Eleazar $3 million, and they want him to repay the debt. He shows Bradley a photo of Lauren being tied up. The stranger says that they have brought in a doctor from Korea who can do terrible things if it is necessary.
There is an abortionist from Korea. He works for my employer. He claims that he can clip the limbs of a fetus, yet leave the child in such a condition that it will live to be born.
He tells Bradley to kill Christopher Bridge, an inmate of Redleaf Maximum Security Prison, who is held in cell block 99. Bradley replies that he can't get into Maximum Security Prison on a charge of delivering illegal drugs. However, the gray-haired man suggests Bradley to get creative. Otherwise, the limbs of his child will be sent to him. On the way to his cell, the man realizes that he must act immediately. The guards once again take him out into the corridor where Bradley starts faking pain from the taser. When they let their guard down, Bradley attacks, disarming them. Then he slowly begins beating them, demanding the keys to the shackles. In the process, he accidentally kills one of them.
You stupid asshole. You killed. I know what I did.
And locks the other in a cell. Having knocked out his opponents, Bradley proceeds to stomp on their heads the way we used to stomp on beer cans in the backyard as kids. Eventually, the Mexican can't stand it and asks the assistant to let the woman go and take her to Gil. Bradley drags Eleazar into the cell where the guard is locked up.
Stay put.
And at that moment, the warden and his men come running to the cell block. Bradley says he'll finish off the two hostages if they try to break in. He adds that all he needs is just to receive one call and then he will surrender straight away. His words make Lauren weep. She does not want her husband working as a drug dealer, but Bradley assures her that it is a temporary measure and he'll just be a delivery guy.
Give me some time before you get closer.
A year and a half later, Bradley delivers goods to some drug den-like projects. The man has already acquired impressive connections due to his integrity and professional approach. In the end, the bald man searches the Mexican and throws his weapon into the water so that he doesn't hurt anyone accidentally. When Bradley comes back, he senses something wrong, so he dumps the bag in the water and tells them to do the same.
Dump, we'll pick him up later. Go.
Judge sentences Bradley to 7 years in prison. Bradley is clearly shocked by such a blatant injustice. So much for helping the cops. Depressed, he goes to his new home, Franklin James Prison, locally known as the Fridge. After waiting in a long and tedious line at registration, he turns in his belongings. The guard demands that Bradley remove his ring. The man reluctantly obeys and accidentally shuts the window a little louder than he should. The pampered guard flinches and, like a typical nerd who's gotten a little power, tells the man to go to the back of the line and go through the procedure all over again.